Alright, what's up you guys? So, welcome to Project Paradise. This is, I don't remember if I posted my initial build. It was with a much larger ammo box. I think I got it from Harbor Freight for like 10 bucks. And they just weren't really that high quality. So we have a store called Nichols, it's like a sporting goods store. And they have these little mini boxes for $5. So, pretty good deal. But essentially what I've done is transferred everything over to this. It fits a lot better, and then I also put an on and off switch on the bottom, and this is the charging cable for the solar panel. I'll kind of run through the prices of everything. I think I've got about $50 into this total, but yeah, so I've got a little photo diode up here. It's got about a 10-second delay, and it's just basically screwed in through the top, and you've got your main power, your ground, and then your this is your positive in, your negative in, and then this is your negative out. The red one is the negative out, so it connects over here to the negative end of the LEDs. And I initially used red LEDs, but I decided to go with green ones. I bought some for my boat, and I decided to go a different route. I was going to wrap them around the boat and use my boat as a light, but I decided instead I would just build a fishing light that I can just dunk in the water. So yeah, so I've got some foam in here holding the two batteries, and that's the only thing really holding them in place. And then I've got another piece of foam on each side, and then I just ran these through, drilled a hole, ran the wires through, and then screwed them in, and it should turn on. So it's relatively bright, and then you can see after about 10 seconds the light should go off automatically. Yep, there we go. And then if I cover that, about another 10 seconds, they should kick back on. Cool. And then if I don't want to use it, I can just turn it off. But yeah, so that's pretty simple, easy way to wire. And then I just just drilled a hole and ran these through. I'll probably take some glue or silicone and run it through the bottom, but that just goes to the positive and negative terminal, and that should help charge the battery, keep it going. They use about half an amp, or I think it's half an amp. So this is a 12 volt, 4.5 amp battery. That's two 6-volt batteries combined in series to make 12 volts, and they were both 4.5 amps, so amp hours. So you could basically run something at an amp for 4.5 hours. Or with this, since it's only 4.5 amp, it should be able to run for about 9 hours. I want to say that it was an amp, but we can take a look real fast. I'll turn it on so the lights are on, and then I'll run some resistance. Yeah, let's just pull this off. So we'll just run this in. Alright. Oh no, it's not even half an amp. It's 0.04 amps. So this thing will last for days, probably. But this guy charges at half an amp. So as long as I get 5 hours of continuous light, it should recharge the system every time. I think, and this I'll probably just end up finding somewhere to screw on the side of the tree, so it won't even be like the best. Or I might build like a small little 2x4 angled and just kind of screw that into the tree or something. I haven't really figured it out yet. But anyway, so then I found some. I was initially going to use like a mount for a trail camera, and then I decided not to because it just wasn't the little ball set up on the trail cam mount just wasn't strong enough, so I came up with this instead. But anyways, it's a 1/4 inch bolt, 1/4 by 20 threads, so 20 twists per inch is the thread pitch, and that's the same thread pitch as your your camera and your trail cam mounts, like and so tried that, didn't work very well. So anyways, I decided that I would just get a wing nut, 1/2-inch bolt, and a 1/2-inch lock washer, and then I would get like a wood screw style ring, and then a 1/4 inch by 20, and then I thread lock that in there and then tighten down the bolt on the outside so it shouldn't be moving anywhere, and then I can tilt it up or down however I want the light to shine, and then just twist it down, and it bites pretty well and allows it to get tight. So I'll see, I may have to take a pair of pliers and twist lock it, but it should hold pretty well. And that's about it. It was a pretty easy build. It took me maybe about an hour. Just drill the holes. It's not super I mean, the top of it's watertight, but the bottom ideally shouldn't be getting any water in it. And then I have a rubber grommet, so I have fender washers with rubber grommet underneath it to kind of help seal this off. And then, if you can see it, probably not very well, but there's the bolt with the fender washer back there just for extra stability. I did this one up high. The other one I did down low, thinking it would help with the center of gravity, and then I realized that it wanted to like twist left and right, so I went ahead and put the bolt a little higher, so that it'll at least kind of stay relatively level. Don't have to worry about it trying to shift left and right. But yeah, it's a pretty simple setup. A little bit of wire here and there, some twist ties. I didn't even do anything that permanent with these, so I can easily take this out if I need to replace the switch, or remove some of these if I need to replace the lights. But they're LEDs, so they should be good. Everything just kind of tucks in there, closes up, and now I can go screw it onto a tree. And then what I'll probably do is I have a strap. I'll probably tie the strap through this and also wrap that around the tree in case something happens. This comes loose or something in the storm and it falls off somehow, I don't know. At least I'll have something to prevent it from crashing down to the ground and breaking. But yeah, overall I think batteries were about 10 bucks a piece, between $10 and $12 depending on where you get them. I'm trying to find a better solution, something a little bit cheaper that'll also work. I have a lot of lithium batteries, but those aren't necessarily cheaper. This switch, I think I paid 10 bucks per, or I think it was $9 per switch. I bought a pack of 2 and I think it was like $18 or $19. The wire's pretty cheap. You don't even need a whole lot of it, but or you can salvage it from other stuff. The lights underneath, I think they came out to being about 75 cents a piece. I bought them in a pack of 10. It was 10 bucks. No, it was less than $10. I think it was like $7.99. So it ended up being cheaper than $1 a piece. The foam I just had laying around, but you can literally use anything that you can stuff in there. Some cardboard, maybe even some bubble wrap or some paper, just to keep it from shifting around. And then maybe like a little $5 pack of these. You can get one color. I had red and blue, so I used what I needed, but mostly it's not a high. You can get thinner wire than this. You could probably use something closer to 16 or 18 gauge wire. These are really low amperage, so it's not going to overheat anything. So using a lot thinner wire is going to save you some money. Then you can use all the little red clips, and you can twist these together and actually use like a crimper instead of twist locks, so you don't have to buy those. But you can buy a kit with a bunch of different size stuff, and some of these for about $10. And then I think with this little spacer, this is just, I went to Tractor Supply and bought this spacer, the same thread pitch. They have them over there with like the big threaded rods. So I got the spacer, the bolts, the washers, and the little grommet thing. And I think this was about $2, and this was about $2. And I got a longer one. If I would have got a shorter one, it would have been cheaper. I ended up having to cut it, so you don't really need a long one. Like an inch of thread is probably more than enough for this, otherwise it sticks way far out from the tree, and that's just more leverage. It's going to help try and pull it down. So the closer in you can get it, probably the better. I was just worried that I wasn't going to have enough space, but obviously I have at least another inch right here, so I could have gone closer to this and been fine. But yeah, so about $5 in this setup for the adjustment and the tree, or the tree mount. And you can even make these for your trail cams if you wanted to. So you could do this for fairly cheap. They have some that you can buy, but they're about $10 just for a single one. So you can make this for $5. You could use smaller eyelets, use smaller bolt, smaller wing nut, or not even use a wing nut. You could just use a locking washer and just use like 2 wrenches or something, or not locking washer, but a locking nut or a nylon nut. Just some things to make it a little bit cheaper. But yeah, I got about $50 into it. This was $14 at Tractors or at Harbor Freight, and they shouldn't overcharge the battery because it's only pushing out like I said, half an amp at about 18 volts max. Typically runs about 14 to 16 volts. So it shouldn't do anything, and I think they're fairly waterproof. I had this one outside, it's got sap all over it, and it still functions just fine, and it went through a couple storms. This was with the original build, so I think it'll be fine. I may make another one with red lights, but for now I think I'm going to stick with the green lights and see how those work. Everybody swears by green lights in hog hunting, and that's kind of what this is for. Help with the lighting for the camera, and then also, you know, just when I'm hunting hogs at night, I don't have to have a scope on the whole time to try and see when something comes up. I'll be able to see it from my tree stand. That was my issue. I missed a hog the other night. I was waiting and I kept moving to check my scope. I would turn the scope on and check, and I was just waiting around knowing that he was going to be coming around between 9:30 and midnight, so I would check about every 10 minutes, and finally I saw him, because they're quiet. It was surprisingly quiet. 300-pound hog, and he was super quiet. Actually, I think I have a picture of him. I'll show you guys. But he came back. I took a shot at him. He started to run right as I went to take a shot. And then my gun jammed, so I didn't even get to get any follow-on shots on him, which really sucked. So hopefully I don't run into that issue again. But yeah, let's see. Battery's dead on this. I got a solar panel for it, so. But look at this guy. He keeps knocking over my feeder. So I don't know how well you can see it, but he's probably solid 250, 300-pound hog, and he just, even with this thing, with the feeder full of grain, he'll just knock it over. I've got some pictures where he's just messing around with it, which is really annoying. That's why I was trying to shoot him. So he stopped knocking over my feeder. But yeah, that was a few minutes before I shot at him. I shot him about 11:20. And he was walking around, and I thought I saw something. I turned on the scope, and it was 0 illume, almost no illume that night. You see it says there's like, well, the moon was like nothing, and then it set around 10 o'clock at night, so it didn't help anyways. But yeah, so I went and threw some corn in the feeder, threw some attractant in there. There was still some corn in the feeder, so I knew that he'd probably be back again. He hadn't eaten it dry. And he showed up, and I like turned on the scope, and I could see a gray, a very faint. It was hard to tell the difference between the hog and the background, but I could see the feeder well because it's just jet black. It doesn't reflect a lot of light. But he, even though he's pretty dark, he blends in well with his surroundings, and I kind of just saw what looked like a shadowy figure moving across. And so that's when I kicked on my IR light that I had on the end of my rifle, and I could see his eyes through the bushes, and then he was kind of pacing, but he was facing away from me, so I'm in the tree stand with my shooting lane, and he was kind of facing like this, and I wanted to get a headshot, but I didn't want. But I wanted to get a good like side profile earshot on him. And as soon as he turned this way, and I was getting ready to pull the trigger, something spooked him. He turned right at me and just started running, like towards me in the tree stand, which was weird. And so I took a shot, the gun jammed, no blood, and then 2 days later he's back. So I missed him, or if I did hit him, I mean it's 223, so if you don't get a good shot on it, it's not going to do anything to him. They're stupid tough animals. So we'll see if I get him tomorrow. I'm gonna mount this. I'm gonna go out there early in the day. I got some work I want to do out in the property, and then that night I plan on being in the tree stand, and I'll probably be there till about 3 to 4 in the morning. But yeah, so it'll be fun. See how well this works. See how much light this actually provides, and how easy it is to see. But with this setup, I shouldn't ever have to deal with the batteries unless they actually go bad, but they should last for quite a while, even with this thing running for 10 to 12 hours a night. As long as I get a decent amount of light the next day, and this has a decent angle on the sun, it should charge it, no problem. So, yeah, you could, I mean, I guess you probably could use, like, it's going to cost you an extra $50, but you could, instead of running the batteries in this, or, I mean, I don't know, you could build something even smaller out of like a little Plano box you can get from Walmart at that point. But you could use like your solar chargers for your game cameras. I bought one of those, and it's 12 volt, and it comes with its own solar panel and everything, and its own internal battery. I'm pretty sure it's lithium, so it's gonna last quite a while anyways. But yeah. But that's an extra $50-$60, and then you just buy the lights and maybe a switch if you want, or a little photo sensor. So yeah, that's the project. Super cool little cans. I couldn't find them anywhere for cheaper than what they were at the sporting goods store. Looking online, they're selling them for $10 a piece, whereas I can buy 2 of them for $10 at nickel. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the build. I didn't really go through exactly how I built it, but it should be a pretty simple concept to do yourself. Just wire. Since this is the control wire for the ground, you just wire your positives directly to the main battery. In this instance, because I have a switch, it goes main power is right here, the red wire. Main power goes down to the switch. Then the power out from the switch is white, and I did that so that it matches, you know, the wire going to the controller. And I probably could have done red, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Yep. So white goes out. So your red, your white, and then your red out, which is your control wire on your sensor, goes down to your negative on your lights. And this wire right here just connects the batteries to make it 12 volt. And then here's your main negative that runs to, this is your charger cable right here that runs down. This is your main negative that runs, and then it's zip tie, or not zip tie, but twist wire twist nut, whatever, to the photo sensor. Yeah, really simple setup. I ran out of clips for this, so that's why this one is wire tied in here, and then it's just whatever that little clip is on here. So yeah, I hope that helps. If it's something you're interested in building, hopefully you can find an ammo box like this. If not, you can pick them up for about $10 at Tractor Supply. They're just, or not Tractor Supply, but Harbor Freight. Oh, they're just a lot bigger. This is what I was dealing with before, so nearly twice the size. This thing literally fits inside here, just about. And I didn't have a good mounting system, and I was gluing stuff, so I had like the 3 lights on the bottom, and they were just pulling a lot more amperage than this one, and then I ran that through the bottom. That was the charging cable with the solar panel, and this goes back on, so. Yeah, I had a little photo sensor right there. So this one works just as well, same concept. It's just bigger, it's bulkier. Whereas this little guy is kind of compact. And I did the addition of a mounting bracket instead of just strapping it to a tree, so I get a little bit more adjustability out of it. Yeah, so hit me up with any questions you guys got. I was looking for 6 volt, so like in order to save some money, only going with 1 6-volt battery versus 2. I was looking at that potential, and I couldn't find any 6-volt LEDs like this. So you might be able to find something else that's not like these strips, but maybe like a small little pin LED and just run several of them. I don't know what that would, what kind of amperage it would be pulling and how bright they're going to be. But these seem like a good brightness. It's an extra $10 for another battery, $10 to $12 for another battery, and you're going to probably last longer. 12 volts at 0.4 amps versus 6 volts at probably 0.8 amps. So you're pulling closer to 1/10 of an amp. So it just wouldn't last as long, obviously. But I don't know. It is what it is. I don't mind. It's heavy. It's a little heavy. It'd be nicer if it was lighter. Maybe use some lithium batteries instead of the lead acid. But other than that, I'm happy with it. I think it'll do well, and I'll just kind of see how long it lasts. I don't think I'll need to change it as long as I get some decent sun on this guy. Figure out how to mount this better so it's not just, I think I just had 2 screws with it just pressed up against the side of the tree, so find a better mounting system. Maybe even figure out if I can use like the game camera mounts for this through these little holes or something, or maybe even just do something like this again with the smaller one that'll fit through here, and then just use an extra nut like this little lock nut, but use 2 nuts and then just tighten it down right here or something, and then I can just tilt it up and down towards the sun however I want to. So that's probably another option as well. Add a couple extra bucks to the build, and then I just have the excess wire kind of zip tied for now, so it's out of the way, and it can be extended or moved to an area where it can get sun if this is in an area where it's pointing down, you know, and it's being blocked by trees, so you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So yeah, that's the build. That was the thought process. That's the concept, and I will let you guys know how it turns out. Probably with a picture of the hog I shoot tomorrow night, hopefully. Yeah, thanks for watching.